Okay, folks, I think I'm live now, and I'm telling you, I feel like there are people out there who simply don't want folks to stream. 99% of the content on the internet about streaming is about streaming video games, which isn't very helpful at all. And I'm just trying to stream myself or stream board gaming. And this OBS audio thing is problematic. So I'd like you guys to let me know, first of all, if there is if there's any kind of lag between me talking. Like, if there is lag, are my lips moving first, or etc.? I'm trying to fix the lag on this. So, I don't know. It's not that interesting. So, I'm sorry, it's not that intuitive is the word for it. So, I don't know. It's very intriguing to me how this all works. I just wish it was a little bit more simple. I bought a top-of-the-line new Mac notebook, which apparently is incompatible with everything. Although, at least I still have the USB ports on it, unlike the new one. All right. I will get to your questions in just a moment, making sure that my voice here is synced up. Lag on this. So, I don't know. It's not that interesting. Some people say the sound is before the video. All right. Well, the sound is before the video. The audio is first. Okay. How does that change anything? All right. Let's see. The voice is later. The audio is first. The voice is later. I'm still confused. Okay. Well, anyhow, I just changed a setting, and this is problematic. But I just changed one setting, so hopefully that makes it a little bit better. So anyhow, I'm sitting here picking up pieces of The Witcher board game here. There's a lot of pieces in that game, a lot of cards. So, and making my list of things to do this week, which I've done, I think, exactly 3 of them. But there's a lot of things to get done, and I'm actually really excited about some of the stuff that we're working on. And so I'm glad that the audio is better. The sound is about quarter second before the video, no big deal. It's very close. All right. Well, close is good, right? Okay. All right. I'm going to start taking questions, and I'm going to take questions now, okay? Anyone who has a question at this point in time, I know that some people asked a lot of questions earlier, and I apologize about that, but let's start taking about questions now. And also, I'll be getting, we're going to work on this because we're doing some live gaming this coming weekend. We're going to do on Saturday, Friday night. Friday night at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Jason and I are going to play a live game of Dice Masters with the new Age of Ultron dice. So if you'd like to see those, we'll be doing that. And then at 9 o'clock on Friday, Eastern Standard Time, we'll be doing Mission Red Planet and then Boulder Dash. So that'll be me, Z, Sam, Jason, and Kenny. So come on. So check that out. That's all going to be coming up this Friday. I'll be putting up the videos for those. I hope you guys enjoy watching those. With Mission Red Planet being reprinted, we're always talking about the old one. I thought it would be cool for you guys to see that game in action. And I feel pretty confident that Boulder Dash should be a pretty good game to watch in action. So let's make sure this computer's powered up. And whoa! The questions just appeared like crazy. All right, so here we go. Let's see. Where's the parrot shirt? Oh, that was just for this morning. But I do like those shirts. I love when people say, oh, those are eyesores. I don't care. I always like Hawaiian shirts, and I always will. When am I bringing the Dice Tower to the UK? I love to come to the UK, but it's very expensive to go overseas. If one of the game, I mean, we're always willing to go consider any gaming convention if that gaming convention is willing to help us get there. At this point in time, though, that's not happening from the UK. But if it did, we'd be there. Let's see here. Which expansion for Smash Up should you buy first? That's a good question. I think I would pick, I mean, honestly, they're all good, so I'd pick the one that interests you. If you like Cthulhu, get that expansion. If you like monsters, get the monster expansion. Just look at the pictures in the cover. I don't think any of them are that much more difficult. The Cthulhu one has the curse things in it, or the whatever they're called. That doesn't necessarily mesh as well as the other ones, but if you like Cthulhu, it's still the best one to get. What would you say is the most complicated game you still enjoy playing? Well, probably Seven Ages. That's a pretty complicated game. Not Seven Wonders, Seven Ages, which is a pretty complex civilization-style game. Some games you didn't like initially, but would be willing to give a second chance? Well, that's happened in the past, but usually if I hate a game or don't like it, I don't give them second chances very often. Let's see here. What hobby games would you recommend besides Monza? Well, then I would go with Grab Bag, Socken, that new one with the dragon going around the volcano. I forget the name of that one. Those are good ones. I do not play board games online at a website. I apologize. I'm just not very interested in that. I do play board games on my iPad occasionally, but only when there's nothing else to do. Like on the cruise, I played Ascension, and I'm still in the middle of a game. Here's my iPad here. Let me see if I can pull up the game and show you. Now, this is what I do to entertain myself. I had a lot of extra time on the cruise, and so I played Ascension. And what I do in Ascension is, to me, the games always go too fast. So I try to play. I always max it up to 120 points, and they still go too fast for me. So what I do is I set up a game between myself and a dummy player. And so here's the game, and you can see it here. And I'm playing against a player called Moron. Now, Moron is actually not a moron. He's a very clever player. He helps me. And what he does is he takes cards that let him banish cards in the front row, in the center row. And so what he does is he tries to clear out any cards that will score me points. And my goal is to see how many cards I can get into my deck, because I'm trying to score over 1,000 points in Ascension. Right now, my deck has 43 cards in it, which is a lot. You know, if you figured it about 2 points per card, that's 280 points. I mean, I could easily end the game at any time. You can see that it's up to 84 points here, but I'm trying to do it. It's actually harder than you think. You're trying not to get points, but at the same time collect cards that give you points. And so, I don't know. That's something I have fun doing. I don't even know why I just told you all that. And most people think that was very odd, I think. But I do like playing Ascension a lot on the iPad. But I like playing computer games against a computer, not against other people. Just never been a big fan of playing other people. And so if I'm going to play a board game against somebody, then I'll just play them in real life. You look full of energy after vacation, but why did you take games with you on the cruise? You did want to rest a few days and not playing games at all? Well, yeah, I did. I waited till Thursday before I played any board games, but that was because I was like, I want to do something. So I went to the library on the cruise ship and I was reading there. And the thing I liked about the cruise ship is everywhere you go, you can see like the ocean going by. It's amazing. And then I saw these people playing games in the next room, and I was like, I brought some games just in case, because you should always be prepared. That's the Boy Scout board gaming motto. And so that's why I played some games. I just had extra time. And playing games is never really work unless they're horrible, which actually most of them were. But it was still kind of entertaining. Are there plans for the people running the Dice Tower Convention to set up a live stream at a designated table for any attendee to use throughout the show? I've thought about this, and I'm still debating this, and there's some problems with the live streaming. One is that live streaming costs money to get a good setup like that. Another is live streaming is live streaming. So you're never sure what may or may not happen on there. But it's an idea, and I'm certainly thinking about it. If we can pull it off, we may even live stream. It'd be fun, I think, to live stream some of the events from Dice Tower Con. I would love to live stream the Dice Tower Awards, but I don't know if that's possible yet. What do you think about a special video review of Arkham Horror and its expansions? That would be great, except I no longer have Arkham Horror, having gotten rid of it now that I have Eldritch Horror. Alright, let's see here once again. So, think about all the PC video games you played with technical problems that need to be patched if they were ever fixed. Are you sure apps and board games are a good thing? Yes, and I'm not really sure what that's... I don't know that that's a big deal. I still think apps are fine. There's problems in video games, and then they get fixed. That's just how things work. Games like Coliseum and Fury and Dracula have been out of print for a while now. Should we expect to see them reprinted? I would say no. And if they are, be joyful. Sometimes games are reprinted. I just got Tigers and Euphrates in the mail. It's back in print. Did not expect that. Do you think a Kickstarter game could win the Spiel des Jahres? Ooh, that's a good question. Well, the thing is, a Kickstarter, to win the Spiel des Jahres, a game has to be printed in Germany by one of the major German companies. So I'm not seeing that happening anytime soon, although they are starting to kickstart some of their games too, so maybe that's possible. That'd be cool though. The first Kickstarter to win the Spiel des Jahres, that'd be like, I'd put that on the box at least. Bang No Dice game, Walking Dead. I don't know anything about that. I think it's just a retheming of the game. We're gonna get it as soon as we can to find out. What are area control games are best for 2 players? Oh man, I wish Z was here because he knows the answer to that. There's a question. There was a game that was made by Jolly Roger Games back in the day, and I know they've redone it recently, but I don't remember what the name of the game is. So you have to come back for the answer to that one. In your top 10, except the top 1, how do you decide the turn order between you, Sam, and Z? It's easy. I just have it memorized. On number 10, it's Sam, me, Z. Then it's me, Z, Sam. Then Z, Sam, me. Then we go reverse. Z, me, Sam, Sam, Z, me. And then we do it again. Sam, me, Z, Sam, Z, Sam, me. And then we roll. Now, and you say, why does it matter? Well, it matters. I like to shake things up when we do it. And it's always fun to go first, in the category. But also, when we're doing those things in the bottoms of the screens, those we don't want to have to quick move them around all the time, so they should be in the proper positions. So as long as we can remember it, I usually do. How was your experience as an English as a second language teacher? I'm thinking of becoming one myself and wondered if you have any tips or advice. Well, it's fun. It can be repetitive because you're doing the same thing all the time, especially if you have new classes. I'll teach you how to do English. Then the next person comes in and I start at the bottom again. And so there were times I got a little bit tired of saying, hello, how are you? I'm Tom. I'm fine. Thank you. Going through some of these things. But I use games and things to up. And it is rewarding and they treat you very respectfully. Have you ever played anything from the Souls series, Dark Souls or Demon Souls for the PS3? I have not. I did get a new... Actually, I played 2 video games recently. One I played on the iPad, which I downloaded before. I downloaded several new games before I went on a cruise, so I'd have a chance to maybe play some of them. And one of the games was Attack the Light, which is based on, I guess, a cartoon, which I've never seen. But I beat the game. It wasn't that hard, but it was a very good RPG. And then I downloaded that Pillars of Eternity thing, which is, wow, it's Baldur's Gate back, yeah! But I've only played it very little bit because I have other things to do. But as soon as I get some free time, which I think will happen around September, I will be playing that one. Let's see here. It's my first time going to Gen Con this year. What should I do the first day that I might miss on later days, like shopping promos? Well, if there's a very specific game you are planning to buy, you should buy it the first day because they may not have it the second or third day. Some of these companies sell out of games pretty quickly. So I would do that. Other than that, I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, yeah, lots of games are sold out by the time Gen Con is over. But there's lots of games that aren't sold out either, and you can go hunt those down. Do you have any idea why the Kinderspiel winners do not seem to get a North American release? I don't know. It drives me crazy. However, we are going to work on this as a Dice Tower that we can talk about them more and hopefully hook them up with publishers. We are starting to see, I think White Lion Imports are starting to bring over Zoc. Habas already has a U.S. presence, so there's a chance you're going to see a lot more of these games coming to the U.S. market, and I'm very excited about that. Just was talking with Zoc recently. We're going to start reviewing more of their games, and I'm very pleased about that. How is Age of Ultron Dice Masters? Well, I haven't actually played it yet. I sorted out the pieces. It looks pretty good. You will see all the characters from the movie in there. I mean, they're not the movie versions. In fact, it's a female Thor. In the comic books, she's female currently. Or one of them is female. The comic books are completely bonkers right now. If you've never read Marvel, do not start reading it now. That's very problematic. But anyhow, they have Jocasta, which is the wife of Ultron. That's a character I'd forgotten about, actually. It was good to see that. They also have the Guardians of the Galaxy characters, except they don't have Drax the Destroyer, which is interesting. Also, interesting enough, they have these very rare cards, these zombie cards. I got one, Zombie Magneto. Apparently there's 4 of those that are spread throughout the thing, so that's intriguing. The cards look pretty good. There's less universal abilities than I've seen in other sets. Otherwise, it seems like a pretty basic set. It's a good one, I think, to jump in on. And besides, that's Guardians of the Galaxy, so I'm pretty happy about that. Dice Masters Age of Ultron, I would guess in a month or two. I don't see why they wouldn't want to jump off the popularity of the movie, which, by the way, is awesome. All right, let's see here. I'm interested in Imperial Settlers, but seems to revolve a lot around tweaking the faction decks with expansion cards, and it kind of scares me. Do you feel it's good enough just as a base game? The base game is the only way I've played Imperial Settlers, and I really enjoyed it that way. So sure, I think it'd be fun to mess with the decks, I guess, but I haven't yet, and I still had fun. Where did I go on my cruise? Well, we took a 7-day cruise in the Caribbean, which is really convenient since we live near Miami. We stopped at Tortola, and I thought about pirate games. And then we went to St. Thomas, and I thought about more pirate games. And then we went to Nassau in the Bahamas. I actually didn't spend too much time on the islands because we found that when we stopped at the island, everyone got off the ship practically, and the ship was empty, and our kids could do the water slides and things, and they really enjoyed that. So that's where we went. I went to a lot of the shows. I did I went and did the best, name that hero villain thing, and that was a lot of fun. I like to do contests, and I felt like I had a chance there. It was interesting. They showed a picture of General Zod and his 2 cohorts, and he said, you need to name all 3 of them. I was like, oh, man, I have no idea. I knew who General Zod was instantly, and now that I know that the woman's name is Ursa, I remembered that, but I didn't remember the other guy's name. And so nobody got all 3 names, so he said, all right, if you wrote General Zod. But I did get points for Gandalf the White, not just Gandalf, has to be Gandalf the White, so things like that. It wasn't really that hard of a thing. I got the one wrong I got was Bionic Woman, and I just didn't recognize who that was. I knew she was from some 60s, 70s show, so I guessed Octopussy from James Bond, although I was leaning towards one of the Charlie's Angels, but I didn't know. Anyhow, the cruise was very fun and very relaxing, and I had a great time. And on day 2, I was like, I need to work. I'm pretty sure, guys, you don't have to worry about me ever retiring because I'm just not going to. With as much as you despise Phase 10, do you have any strong opinion on the game Rummikub? This is odd, but I've never played Rummikub. Weird, huh? Do you ever watch other reviewers' reviews after putting your own video up? Yeah. And then change your opinion in any way based on the things they highlight? It's not happened that I know of. Dixit Storage Solution. I'm not sure I can keep fitting the cards in. Well, I have all mine in, although the box is really jam-packed full. I may have to just find another box or something eventually. Let's see here. Once again, I like to point out, as I do almost every time, that I have no control over companies reprinting stuff. Why they don't reprint it is usually because they don't think enough people will buy something. What are your thoughts on the new Imperial Settlers faction? I think that it's a good choice for a faction, other than I haven't read much more about it. I actually sat next to someone who played the game with that faction, but I didn't actually pay attention because I was busy playing my own game. By the way, I'm really excited, guys, because someone just sent me from Europe. One of the listeners sent me a Hero Quest game, and that's pretty neat. Man, I opened that box so full of nostalgia. I was like, wow, what a cool game to get. And so I plan to play that with my kids, see what they think of that. Let's see here. Anyway, someone asked, do you have any game you play for nostalgic reasons, even if it's not that good? I would probably play that, even though I think Descent and Imperial Assault and other games are better. I would still play it for nostalgic reasons. Oh, Super Rhino. Yeah, that's a great game to get for your kids. Let's see here. What game do you enjoy more, Greed or Shadow Throne? Ooh. I'm going to go with Shadow Throne because the theme of Greed, there was a few cards in Greed and stuff. It was kind of like, skeevy. But Greed is probably had cooler combos. But, man, I did like Shadow Throne. I don't know. That's a good comparison, though. I know you've played Warhammer 40k before, says Gravy Face Pawn. Have you ever played any war games like that, like Malifaux? I have not played Malifaux. I've only played Warhammer 40k for miniatures games. I mean, other than the light miniatures games. Heavy miniatures games, I believe that's the only one I've ever played. Warhammer 40k. I'm feeling there's something I might be missing or forgetting about, but I think that's it. Any comments on the upcoming Batman Flux? Will it finally be the Flux that wins Eric Summer over? I don't know, but we'll find out, won't we? What GMT games would you consider a must-play? Well, I would certainly consider Thunder Alley a must-play. Twilight Struggle, you should try it out at least once. Those would be the two I'd say there. What would you recommend for board game storage? Oh, well, Keith says, I know these shelves are no longer being sold. They're not selling these exact shelves, but they're selling ones very similar called Kallax, Kallax, from IKEA. So I'd recommend them. They're the same size. I love these shelves. These are the best shelves I've ever had. I will get these. The only shelves I think that would be better than these would be custom shelves. And, I mean, these are pretty close to being custom. If you notice, the games fit in perfectly. It's marvelous. Did you get an Apple Watch? I'm not wearing one. Is that an answer? I have my blue Casio watch. Did you watch the Daredevil Netflix series? I've not yet. I just haven't had the time to. I certainly plan to. Is Once Upon a Time in your collection? It is not. I like storytelling. I think storytelling is a good concept, but I don't know that I have many storytelling games. I usually find them lacking a little bit. They don't. I like creativity, but I don't know. There's never been one that's just really grabbed me. Are there differences in gameplay between the new Mission Red Planet and the old one? As far as I know, yes. I think they've worked on it a lot. How different are they? Well, we'll find out. All right, let's see here. What does it say on your hat? It says Bahama Papa. Let's see here. Is Melody still designing a game that was going to be hospital themed? Well, that was put on hold for a while because she's working at the zoo now, and she was doing softball. She lettered, and that's good. Her team won. Her softball team won their district, and then went and played the people who were best in the next district and got destroyed. They played, they're at a school where there's 80 kids, and they went against a school of 500 kids. It's great movie fodder, but in real life it was 20-1, and they came home very proud of that one run. But they did well, and I'm pleased with both of them. Amy's still sitting on the bench, but maybe she'll play next year. Who knows? Holly's going to be playing next year. 3 kids in high school sports. Anyway. So anyway, Melody may get back to designing a game soon. We'll see. When will you have your Dark Seas review up? I think that's a good one to look forward to next week. Because there's a variant on Board Game Geek that is, I think, critical. I don't normally think variants are critical, but I think this one is. Will you talk about expansions that would have been in your top 100 expansions but came out after while you were doing your top 100? I don't think any have come out since I've started that would make my top 100 that I've played. I don't think. I may be wrong. I haven't reviewed a whole ton of expansions actually recently. Let's see here. Playmats for games, useful or a bling expense? Definitely a bling expense. Please buy the Dice Tower Playmats. They're actually not out yet. In fact, they're the one major thing that's once again slowing down everything at the Dice Tower. I don't know. These Playmats take forever to get made, but it's not ever forever to get made. They're made. They're just on a boat somewhere. Let's see here. Wow, some of you guys are asking questions that I answered at the very beginning, which means you didn't even listen. All right. Any chance of a 6-player expansion for Sheriff of Nottingham? That remains to be seen. Are D&D board games easier to get to the table than Descent? I don't know. I don't think so. How do you store your X-Wing miniatures? I think I showed that 2 weeks ago in my question and answer thing. So go check that out. I'm pretty sure I showed it then. Do you think your opinion on Euro games has changed recently? It seems like you started to like more of them. Is it maybe because of better theme integration? Yes, that is correct. We're starting to see this come full circle. The dry, soulless Euro, or Jace, what's it? Just another soulless Euro. That is starting to fade into the background. The people who like those games are like, oh, they're still very popular. Yeah, they're very popular, and like maybe a few of them are sold. Nowadays, we've seen this shift to these super light, small, tiny games, and some of them are good and many of them are not, unfortunately. It makes reviewing easier. They're faster to play and get, reviewed, but still don't know who the Kevin Bacon of gaming is. Maybe, I don't know. There was a board game room on the ship. Did you convert anyone to designer games? I didn't even try. I really didn't. I didn't feel like it was appropriate. Everyone was involved in their game. I saw the Boss Monster people playing their game, and I thought, should I go over and talk to them? Nah. First of all, I don't like Boss Monster, and I don't want to be a negative Nelly, and they seem to be having fun. And me and Melody played the Fox game with the masks. If you haven't seen them, the Master Fox from Yellow, you play the game blindfolded. So you put on these fox masks. And this essentially acts as a blindfold. It also essentially acts as a way that people probably won't come over to your table. Wait, where's the fox I wore? Yeah, the one who's winking. That's right. How you doing? So anyhow. All right. Did I get a chance to play Fresco with any of the 4, 5, 6 expansions that didn't come in the original box? I have not. What are you hoping to see in future waves of Armada? I don't know. I'm pretty happy with everything that's in Armada. They're going to come out with the Imperial Star Destroyer and some like the Millennium Falcon and all that stuff. So and the Corellian. I mean the big Rebel ships. The Calamari cruisers. Yeah. So that seems like it's pretty good for me. I'll certainly try them all out. What is your opinion about HeroQuest 25th anniversary? Well, from all accounts and purposes, it looks like they're reprinting it without permission of the publisher and designer. And I think that's pretty cheesy. So I can't support that, if that's true. What do you think of the upcoming Smash Up It's Your Fault expansion? Have you voted for a faction? I have. I voted for Cowboys. You should vote for Cowboys too. Chicken or lasagna? It depends what mood I'm in. How about chicken lasagna? Advice for a burned out game designer. Don't worry about it. Just play games. You don't need to worry about game designing. Game designing is not for everyone. Playing games, though, is for everyone. The food on the cruise was quite excellent. We went to the buffet more than I thought we would because going to the fancy restaurants was a bit of a strain with all the kids. And also, they didn't think it was that exciting. Why should we go here when you just go to the buffet? And I had to agree with them. I did eat 4 meals a day, so I need to get out of that habit fast. I did. I had only 3 meals yesterday. Oh, it was a struggle. When do you think we'll see updates on a new Kemen expansion? I don't know. I've asked Matago about it, but they haven't told me. I'd love to see more. Great top 10 on video games. Thanks. That was really fun for us to do. And I really was expecting the video gamers to come in and yell at us, but we actually got more positive feedback. It doesn't hurt that many of my favorite 10 video games are like in the top 10 video 100 lists of all time of many of the, when you look at the top games of all time, you'll find many of our games in those lists. It's not like we picked obscure and weird stuff. And I would, but I just pick things. And one of the games I mentioned was Mario Kart, and I read on the internet that there was more tracks to download. I didn't even know that. So I went and downloaded these tracks, and man, me and my kids had fun yesterday, and I can hold my own against them still. Barely. I beat them in the first set, and then the second set I came in second place. Melody still wins, but I can beat the other kids most of the time until they've had a chance to practice, in which case I will then lose. Board games that could be video games. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever played a board game and thought, wow, I wish this was a video game. You can only buy one game at Gen Con. What do you buy? Well, we can't answer that till we see the games that are coming out at Gen Con. What's your best board game yard sale find ever? I would like to think that my best board game yard sale find ever was... found HeroScape once for like $2. That's probably it. But as a kid, just finding all those games, they were just priceless. All those cool little games I found. What are the first 3 games that initially pulled you into tabletop gaming? Well, that's not a very good question in the sense that I've been playing my whole life, really. So I would say Uno was the earliest one I remember playing. Uno or Monopoly. Solar Quest. Stratego. Things like that. Aside from Drumroll from a few years ago, are there any fun circus-themed games? There's a few, but Drumroll is the last one I played. You would think there would be more circus-themed games. So I guess that the custom dice building game from Stephen Glenn is a circus-style game. Rattlebones. But I don't know. Circus is such a great theme. I wish there was more. Or like running a zoo. There's just not a lot of fun themes. I don't need fantasy all the time, but I would love to have more fun themes like circuses. Any news on Nehemiah? Nehemiah, I'm glad you mentioned that. Nehemiah was lost. I don't know what happened, but it did not make it from Essen to my house. I don't know if other games got lost or not, but Nehemiah was one that did get lost, which is unfortunate. I should hunt that down and try to find it again. How did you get a publisher interested in your game? Well, I cheated. I started a review video website, and I can just go up to a publisher and say, I have a game, are you interested in taking a look at it? And they'll probably say yes. So what should you do in that regard is do the same thing, not start a video review website, but to network with people, get to know people so that when you have a good game, you can talk to them and show them. Super Dungeon Explorer Arcadia Quest. Well, I like Arcadia Quest better, but I haven't played the newest Super Dungeon Explorer, so I look forward to trying that out. Nations or Through the Ages? Probably Through the Ages. Have you played the expansion to Skyrim or just the base game? I just played the base game. I'm thinking, which one did I get the expansion for? That was Oblivion. Oblivion was one who had the island where you went through and there was a giant on the wall and you had to fight him. I think that was Oblivion. Skyrim, I don't really care about expansions for Skyrim because when I played it, since I did it on the PC, I could just download mod after mod after mod, and those people make things that are often much better than the expansions. So, like I said, I don't have Skyrim on my computer now because of a Mac. Someone said I could download whatever that program is that emulates Windows. I don't know if I want to do that. Put Windows on my computer. Maybe. I don't know. What's the best game by Delax Vaccarino besides Dominion? My apologies for yawning there. Well, I want to say it might be Greed, but let me quick do a check here. And Board Game Geek, we'll do an advanced search under Designer, and we'll do Vaccarino, and then we'll rank his games here and submit this. Okay, so we know Donald X Vaccarino's, then Dominion, and Kingdom Builder, no. Infiltration, well, Infiltration was pretty good. Although, Infiltration is really interesting because it's one of those games that everyone's like, woo, Infiltration! And you never heard anyone talk about it again. But Temporum, no. Nefarious, no. Those are both not very good. Gauntlet of Fools, nope, not very good. Greed, haven't played Monster Factory. Pina Plata. Haven't played that one. I probably should, though. Yeah, that's basically... I don't think much of his games, apparently. I'm going to go with Infiltration or Greed. Those are probably his two best games, other than Dominion. Okay, moving on. Did you already vote in the 32 Smash-Up bracket? I did not know that the Smash-Up bracket was up. I was on vacation, so let's look here. Okay, we got Smash-Up bracket. AEG has it open. I just need to find a link for it here. Smash-Up. All right, here we go. The top 32. All right, let's go through these, and I'll tell you guys what I'm voting for here. Cowboys, yeah, made it, versus Witches. Oh, easy Cowboys. Knights versus Samurai. I'm going to go Samurai. Dragons versus Giants. Ooh, I like Giants. Superheroes versus Hippies. I'm picking Hippies just for the fun of it. Clowns versus Chefs. Ooh. Oh. I'm going to pick Chefs, but they're going to lose the Clowns. Merfolk versus Birds. Ugh. I don't care. Who cares about either one of those? We'll do Birds. Kaiju versus Elementals. Ooh, Elementals. I love Elementals. Although Kaiju's great too. Man, why are they matching stuff I like up against other ones? Wrestlers versus Toys. Ooh, Wrestlers. But Toys, man, these are good categories. Shark versus Mummies. Definitely Mummies, because I've been rooting for Mummies. Goblins versus Jocks. I don't like either one of those. I'll vote for Goblins because I don't want Jocks in the game. Hackers versus Genies. We'll go with Genies. Yeah, why they put my favorites against each other? Vikings versus Druids. Vikings, I guess. Demons versus Gangsters. Ooh, Gangsters. Ooh. Lizardmen versus Hipsters. Lizardmen. Greek Myth versus Luchadores. I don't see how Luchadores and Wrestlers are that different, so I'll pick Greek Myth. And Mechs and Angels. I'll go with Mechs. All right. Let me put my email in here. Tom Vasel has voted. Hooray! Come back tomorrow for the top 16. Wow, that's like fast voting. Is this today? Did they put up this voting? Man. All right, well, whatever. Okay, so there you go. You saw me vote live. On the AEG, it's your fault. Smash up. All right, and I've lost where I am in the questions, so let's get there. Would you support a mobile game store? Think food truck, but filled with games. I can't fathom any way that would be profitable. I can't. So I don't think I would support it because I'd be too afraid it would fail. I've not played Marco Polo. Have you ever had a problem with alpha gamers, people who keep telling others how to play, advising new players unfamiliar with the rules in a way that mostly benefits the alpha gamer? Any solution? Well, you can tell the alpha gamer to shut up. Or you can point out ways that they can hurt the alpha player that will help them out also. It usually keeps the alpha player from... I just point out, I'm like saying, I usually just point it out and say, hey, he's telling you to do that, but that's going to help him out a lot. So you might want to consider that. Alpha gamers. In a previous Q&A, someone suggested board game ambush, live events where you take on someone at their home. I don't really get that. You mean you show up at someone else's home and then you play a board game against them? I don't get it. Let's see. Do you think the Cthulhu Wars Season 2 upcoming Kickstarter will fail, considering how expensive the first version was? I didn't know that was happening, so let's find that out too. I don't think it will fail, because why would it? Yeah, the first one it seemed pretty well. The game was a good game. It was a very overpriced game, but the game was good. Well, I don't see any news on their website that talks about it. Their Theamaki game and their Orcs Must Die game did well, so I don't know. I'm sure when it comes out, it will do extremely well. I really can't see it not doing well. Okay, anyhow. Will you be playing games at Gen Con? Highly doubtful. I have played a few games at Gen Con before. I've run into people and played games with them. But I can't promise that at all, and I very rarely play games at Gen Con. There's so much other things to do. Are you planning on providing with more airtime? I don't know who. He has been growing in confidence. For my part, I'd love to hear more of his opinion. I don't know who you're talking about. What's the biggest trend that you've noticed over that period of time? What trend are you potentially taking place in the next 10 years? That's not a very good question in a sense, because there's no trend that I've seen that's taken place over 10 years. I see trends that happen, but they're usually much shorter time frame. I mean, we're talking that if you think about it, the collectible card game is only 20 years old. And that was a trend that came out and only really lasted a few years. So then we saw the deck builders come out in 2005. That was kind of a trend for a while. Then now we're seeing the micro game, the small game. There's a little game. And we're also starting to see big giant games come out too. I don't know. I wouldn't say there's no way I'm going to even try to pick a trend. I make my year predictions at the beginning of each year, and then we'll see what happens. Do you have a favorite Marvel character? Well, probably Spider-Man. I also really like Captain America. I like Red Hulk, Iceman, Mimic from Age of Apocalypse, Blink from Age of Apocalypse, Sabretooth from Age of Apocalypse, Jubilee from Age of Apocalypse. Actually, I like Jubilee from this time frame too, although I don't really care about the vampire Jubilee. Skin, but he died. So there's several characters. I've not played Dark Moon. Where will you guys be for Origins? We will be in the middle of Hall D. All right, so I want you guys to come by and say hi to us. Maybe if you see someone with a camera, you can record a shut the door for one of our videos. Don't interrupt my guys when they're in the middle of reviewing or interviewing people. But we're going to be interviewing people during the day on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Saturday we will not be, so it'll be an easier chance for you to come by and say hi to us there. But we certainly want you to be there. We'll be there the entire time. I will be there. Z will be there. Eric will be there. Jason will be there. Marty from Rolling Dice and Taking Names will be with us. And Matt will be there. So we'll have a good team of people there. It'll be fun. What's your favorite 2015 game so far? I want to say Roll for the Galaxy, probably, but I don't know. Once again, we go to the Board Game Geek Advanced Search, and we look for games that were printed in 2015. And here's where Rado pops in and goes, Roll for the Galaxy was a 2014 game, no question. And the answer to that, Rado, is there is plenty of question, and we have decided that it is a 2015 game because there are only a few copies were sold at Board Game Geek Con. Most of those copies were found to be defective and had no pieces. The game was not released in stores till 2015, so therefore Roll for the Galaxy from Dice Tower is a 2015 game, and I will continue to say that until I die. All right. Meanwhile, what other games have come out in 2015 that I've given high... Oh, Star Wars Armada, that's a good one. The D&D Dice Masters. Well, that's actually kind of an expansion to a game. Elysium. Ooh, that's a good one. Spectre Ops. Ooh, Spectre Ops is up there. Very high. Baseball Highlights 2045. Ooh, Forbidden Stars. This one hasn't come out yet, but I'm sure it will be good. Super Motherload. That's a good one. No, that's an expansion. Yeah, so the Penny Press. Yeah, I would say that for now it's Roll for the Galaxy or Spectre Ops probably. Yeah, Baseball Highlights 2045 is a good one though. All right, let's see here. Let's see here. Is there a website to find out when games come out in French? That I don't know. Will there be a Sam show? Well, we will see, won't we? I have some different ways I'll be using Sam. There won't be a show for everybody who works for the Dice Tower, but you'll certainly see Sam involved in the Dice Tower more. You'll see a lot more Miami No. Do you think that there will be more Thunderstone Advance? I do not think so. Can you suggest any real games with trade mechanics? I don't even know what that means. I guess I don't mean that at all. I don't understand it at all. There's lots of real games with trade mechanics. Who votes in the Dice Tower 2014 awards? Well, there's about 70 people right now, 80 people. We have a private Facebook group. And the different people, you probably would know most of them, almost everybody involved with the Dice Tower in any sort of way. Any of the podcasters in the Dice Tower Network, people who do video reviews and blogs from outside the Dice Tower Network, they're all in there. People who know a lot about games, and I picked a full mixture. The arguments over what games should win each category is already pretty fierce. People saying, how could such and such a game even be nominated for this category? It should be this, and I'm really glad to see the passion. And I couldn't tell you, really, for the life of me, what game will win any category, well, except one. There's one category I feel like the game that's going to win it. There's no chance of any other game winning, but you never know. Any sneak peek info you can give us on your next musical live show? There is not. I was actually testing out a song on that today, but we'll see. Is worker placement an overused mechanism, or is it so open-ended that it would never really get old so long as the placing in actions and whatnot is innovative? And I think that's the case there. Worker placement I don't think will ever get super old, but because there's so many different ways to use it, and it's just like rolling dice in a sense to move a piece. I think it's a solid mechanism, and I don't mind it. How do you store your legendary Marvel set? Well, I actually just use these boxes here. This is what I use to store my legendary sets. In one of these boxes, they come with trays, and I can't tilt it that much because I just tilted it a little bit, and that's one of the problems with these things. So I haven't decided exactly. But you can see a little bit there. That's about the farthest I will tilt it. All right. Will you make a top 10 house rules or variants for games? Probably not, because I don't use that many house rules. Do you know of any games being released for Origins? Yes. But I don't know any for sure off the top of my head. I know that there are some games being released at Origins. What do you think of the Total War series? I don't know that I've played those. The thing about video games is I try to play every board game in existence, and I barely do, right? I probably play more board games than most people. Trying to play every video game is even worse, and I don't think you can do that and play every board game. So I just read reviews. I read a lot of reviews. I buy about one video game a year, not counting iOS stuff. But like the big video games, I buy one a year, maybe two. One for my kids and one for me. Like last year was... Actually, I bought two last year. Super Smash Brothers and Super Mario Kart. But for myself, I just got... that Pillars of Eternity. And last year I bought the Civilization game. Let's see here. Are we ever going to revisit top 10s? Yes, some days. Are you guys going to review the game Shadows of Brimstone at some point? I'm sure we will. It's never a Q&A if someone doesn't ask that question. And let me tell you this, though. If there's a game coming up and you're like, ooh, that game sounds like a pretty cool game, a lot of people are talking about that, and you go, I wonder if Tom is going to review it. It's like a 95% chance, yes. You don't have to ask it all the time. Tom, are you going to review this game? If it's coming out, yeah, we're going to try to. Sometimes we don't. There are some big games that we haven't reviewed, but we certainly try to get them all. Do you know any YouTube stars outside of the board game industry? No, I don't think so. I don't really know YouTube people that well. Let's see. Camp Grizzly. Haven't heard anything about that or gotten a hold of that one. It's verses, not verse. That's true. And I say verse for short for verses. My apologies. I'm sorry, my apology. What do you think about the evolution of Dice Master rules, cards, and sets? I think that they actually are getting tighter with their sets. The people pointed out that the Black Widow and the Green Goblin cards are pretty powerful from the first set. I don't think that's necessarily true. There are cards in the second sets and such that negate those to some degree, but the newer sets don't seem to have that problem. I don't notice any kind of power creep, though. A reprint of Solar Quest for Dice Tower Essentials? Look, I have nostalgic enjoyment of Solar Quest, but it was definitely not good enough to reprint. Favorite Days of Wonder game? Do you watch my show? Ticket to Ride. No updates on Dice Tower Essentials at this point in time. I vote the exact opposite of you in every category, and the Cowboys thing, you didn't vote for Cowboys? Shameful. Alright, that's okay though. Let's see, it seems like a lot of pirate games are coming out this year. Will pirates turn into the new zombies? Overused. Maybe. But until I see pirates in popular culture and in movies and TV shows, I'm not going to worry about it. I think that we're going to see zombies still for a while yet. They're everywhere. More movies about them, more TV shows about them, and popular culture and comics and blah, 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 blah. Okay. Ooh, we're getting low on time here. Let's see. Are you at all curious about the Exploding Kittens game that raised so much money on Kickstarter? You know, I'm really not. I just assume it's not that good of a game. It might be, and I would be pleasantly surprised, and maybe I'll get a copy of it at some point. But no, it raised a lot of money. The Oatmeal is a very popular website. That's why it raised a lot of money. I don't see why. Are you going to review Room 25 Season 2? If I can get my hands on it, you better believe it. I really like Room 25. Do you have an updated opinion on Star Wars Armada? The more I think about it, the more I like it. Really, really like it. Have your thoughts on Terra Mystica changed since your video review? They have not. Once again, did not hate the game. I just didn't like it that much. And I did not say it was a bad game. So, no, I've not played it. I usually don't play expansions for games I don't like. Do you guys plan on being nicer to Sam at any point in the future? What? What? You mean you think Sam will be nicer to us? Come on now. Come on now. We're nice to Sam. Okay, maybe we weren't nice to him in the last top 10, but we're usually nice to Sam. He needs to put his list in order. That's what it is. 1 through 10. Let's see here. Should you wait till the new edition of Red Planet comes out? Well, probably. I can't imagine it will be worse. Would the plastic trays that I previewed this morning fit into a Dice Masters box? Well, that's a good question. I don't think so. So here they are. Oh, they're not going to fit in that way. I guess they're not going to fit in two on a side, are they? Let me look. No, not really. Sorry. That's a good question, though. Ooh, you want to... Here, I'll tell you some of the characters in the set. We got Spider-Woman, the S.H.I.E.L.D. Helicarrier, Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, Wonder Man, Enchantress, Nick Fury, Kang, Odin, Red Skull, Rocket Raccoon, Loki's Scepter, Phil Coulson. Yeah, Phil! Hulk, Beast, Pepper Potts, Maria Hill, Groot, Thanos. Yeah, Thanos. Guy's rocking. Star-Lord, Black Widow, Starhawk, Baron Zemo, Hyperion, Giant Man, Vision, S.H.I.E.L.D. Agent, Jocasta, Captain America, Ultron, Daredevil, Bucky, and I think that's most of the characters, right? Oh, the Ultron drones. I guess these are like the lame-o little Ultrons that you can beat up so that you feel better, even though you can't get the main big one. Gamora. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy with this set. I mean, character picking-wise, man, I love all these characters. Okay. And let's see here. Will there be a top 10 dungeon crawlers? At some point. I just think that it would not be a very interesting list because we would pick 10 that were the same. Is there any good game with the Three Musketeers theme? There's actually a good cooperative game, or one versus many. I think it's called, it has a French name, but it's basically the Three Musketeers. Real Grande printed it. It has a terrible rule book. It's very difficult to understand, but one person plays Milady, and the other 3 players play the different Musketeers, and they're trying to stop, and you're trying to go up against each other. That's a pretty good game. A little obtuse, and the rule book was pretty bad, and that's, I think, why it tanked. But that was a good one. Oh, that's a good question. Let me yawn first. All right. Geeky Hoodie says, how much money should someone save up to go to Gen Con? Well, I don't know how much you plan to spend on getting there, okay? So you need to obviously save enough money to fly there or drive there, and then to stay there somewhere. And if you're going to stay far away from the place, then you need to figure out how you're going to get there back and forth. But let's say you taken care of all that and how much Gen Con costs, because those are answers only you can imagine. How much money would I take to Gen Con? I would not take a penny more than you're willing to spend. Okay? And you need to budget out your meals. What are you going to do for your meals? But if you're going to spend money there, buy games and such, how much to go into it? If you want to spend $200, if you want to spend $1,000, whatever you want to spend, if you just want to buy one game, then go in with that amount of money, because you will be tempted to get so much more. And these guys will act like they have the greatest deals on earth, and you look at these games, and these games will look amazing, and you're going to know you need to have them right now. But you don't need to, because the really good games will be available for you when Gen Con is over. There's no special at Gen Con that's so awesome that only people who went to Gen Con will get. So keep that in mind. Have you played Thief? I have not, but I do have a copy of it, and it is on our list of things to play. Let's see here. Do you feel you pull a lot of punches when playing as the Overlord in Descent? I do sometimes, but after a while the heroes get so strong that I stop pulling punches. Does Mystery of the Abbey still hold up? Yeah, it does. It's an excellent game. If you have a chance to get a copy, I recommend it. What do you do for a living? I apparently play games. I run the Dice Tower, and that is what I do for a living. Let's see. Don't believe Sam. All right. Let's see. Your biggest disappointment ever, game-wise. Oh, man. Didn't we do a top 10 disappointments? I think we did. If we haven't. Ooh, we did top... I don't know. I think we've done a top 10 disappointing games. I'd go check that out. Are you worried about too many Dice Master sets coming out so fast that it becomes overdone? I am perfectly content if that happens, and I'll tell you why. Because there are, I think, 30 characters per set, and there are now the original set, and there's 2, then the DC, so there's 4 sets out now. Each of those 4 sets has 30 characters, but there are 3 versions of those characters, or 4. So let's say there's 100. Actually, I can just look here. There's 142 character cards in each set. So 142 times the 4 Marvel DC sets, and then there's also the Dungeons & Dragons set. So I have 700, 800 different cards to pick from to make a team. Are you kidding me? If that's all they ever made, I'd be content. If they announced tomorrow, or stop making Dice Masters, I'd be like, oh, too bad, but you know what? That's cool. I think it's great. So no, I don't worry about it. Any plans to give more airtime to Jason? Well, we're working on his top 100s of all time, so I plan to air that soon. We're going to start recording those and posting those, so I look forward to that. How do I store my cards from Marvel Legendary? Well, I just have them sleeved. I don't normally sleeve cards, but I started sleeving them, so now I can't stop sleeving them. And I just have them all in a box. Will you get Mage Wars Arena or Mage Wars Domination? I hope so. Do you plan to make a first time at Gen Con video? Yes, we actually do plan to do that. Do you have a favorite dragon in D&D Attack Wing? Well, currently my favorite dragon is the gold dragon. I like the gold dragon a lot. I just got waves 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever, 4 more waves of stuff. So I haven't played those yet, but I'm excited to try those out and review those for you guys. Still really enjoying the D&D Attack Wing. Have you been played the Magic the Gathering Commander decks? I do that occasionally. I have a couple over here that I played. I just played one against Z a couple weeks ago, and that was a lot of fun, so I enjoyed that. Ooh, I reached the end of the questions. Huzzah! Well, someone's going to be like, what? You didn't answer my question. Oh, what's your best tactic for playing Catan? Make people good trades. Make people good trades. Would you recommend getting last copy of Battleship Galaxies? Oh, I guess. Battleship Galaxies was fun, but it needed more ships, and they never came out with more ships, so that was disappointing. Battle or Memoir 44? Fantasy or World War II? That's your answer. It really is. They're both excellent games. Mystery of the Abbey or Incognito? Mystery of the Abbey. All right, well, I guess that's it for this time then, since I am caught up in questions and since we've gone an hour. Okay, folks, well, I got more stuff to get done here. There's exciting things coming from the Dice Tower. I got a pile of reviews from the other guys that will be posted up this week. We have a top 10 list coming, our top 10 games with exciting finishes. Okay? And until then, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching the Dice Tower, guys. I really appreciate you watching. Thanks so much.